everybody! Double01, roaring to victory here. Yes, I'm keeping that take. And today's the day. Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous has finally been released. A bit earlier than expected, because somebody told me that their friend told that... You've got to be kidding me. Anyways, as I was saying, it came out a bit earlier than what I was expecting, because somebody told me that their friend told them that it was meant to come out at around about 5 or 6. And it turns out, it came out at 9. So, it's a bit later in the day. I just got off from college. I actually got off early, but I still put effort into my work because college is more important than this show. And don't worry, it was online college. Stay safe. Anyways, going into the show, I really don't have any expectations. Even though yes, I'm pretty excited to watch it. The thing is, I've heard so many different things from so many other people. I've just gone, screw you, I'm not listening to you. I like you, and I'm gonna listen to you, but I'm not gonna personally invest in your opinion, because I want to form my own. Just off the trailers alone, there have been a few complaints about the series, which is that it's obvious that the kids aren't going to die. But I would really like to quote a commenter here. A commenter said, "Personally, I'm really excited for the show. Sure, it won't be as violent or as scary as the shows. It still looks like a fun ride." And I agree with that. Like, yeah, going into it, I know it's probably not going to be that violent. Nor do I expect it to be that violent, because after all, it's not made for kids. Because I have a whole entire video planned where I dive into something, where I dive in to the saying that things are made for kids. Where was I going with this? I'm just dragging this along. Okay, I should just cut to the chase here, because I haven't seen the show yet. I'm just about to watch it. I'm going to do it episode by episode in this one video. So I'm going to watch the first episode, come back here, record. Second episode, come back here, record, so on and so forth. And just give my overall opinions at the end. Actually, I hope I like this show, because I'll probably end up watching it multiple times. Because Best is doing a watch through of it, which I'm definitely going to join. So now that's 2 viewings of the show. Gaming Beaver's probably going to do one. So when that's a 3rd viewing of the show, I'll probably want to watch the show myself again on a bigger screen, just so I could appreciate the animation. So that's 4 times. Yeah, I'll probably end up watching the show quite a few times, if I actually like it. I better stop jabbering and just watch the first episode. Okay, I just finished the first episode. I really like it. Just first off, can I just say, full spoilers, this isn't a review, these are just my first thoughts coming off the episode. After watching the first one, I really like it. As for the I'm going to start off by talking about the characters. This is going to be a mess I can already tell. We have Darius, the dinosaur kid, who I actually reasonably like. Who would have thought? Finally, a likeable protagonist. That was a joke if you couldn't tell. And we also had the big Chad guy, the rich one. I forget his name, but I love him. He's such an arse. He's so egotistical. I love it. uh, and as for the other human characters, we have the girl with the pink hair, the YouTuber. I hate her. I despise her. Nearly every single second she was on screen, I wanted to punch her. Is this how us YouTubers appear to you? Appear to you lot? If so, I sincerely apologize. So yeah, I don't like the pink-haired kid. And as for the others, we have the. I'm gonna sound like such a terrible person here, but this is the only way I can describe her. We have the big one. I don't really have anything to say about her. The only thing I really have to complain about with her character is that it's such a coincidence that she's a fan of the pink-haired girl, the bad Mr. Beast. 27 million followers. How does somebody like that get 27 million followers? And we also have the fit girl, the person who did exercise and doesn't like people. She was fine, I guess. And we also had the shy kid. He barely got any screen time, but I guess he was alright. I just want to say, oh my! In the beginning, they just killed that guy. I love it. If that's how they're gonna kill off characters going forward, I'm fully supporting the show. If that's how we're gonna kill off characters. But seriously, I really liked the majesty that this episode contained. I really liked the scene where they were going over the zipline over the herd while they were herding them into their night pen enclosure. How many times can I talk about herding in a video about people herding herds into their nighttime enclosure that holds herds? I really liked that scene. I really liked the majesty that was in that scene. And I really liked the music in this. Like, most of the time in Netflix shows, the music is never really there. That's even with the How to Train Dragon shows, which I really enjoyed. My main complaint is, in those shows, are the music. But in this first episode, the music is great! I love this! And the animation is also amazing! I love the models. Like, the T-Rex at the beginning. The Compy looked amazing! If this is the style that the show is going to do going forward, I am going to love this show. To be honest, I really just want to get this part over and done with so I can start the second episode. I really like this so far. So, I believe that is all I have to say, so, moving on to the next episode. Actually, no, I've got one more thing to say, which is the comedy. Like, one of my main worries going into this show was comedy. I was afraid that the comedy would be very juvenile and unfunny. Actually, this is actually reasonably funny. But not all of the jokes. Like, there were some moments in this where it got some fallout laughs out of me. But however, there were some moments which weren't that funny. Particularly with the pink-haired girl. But I really like this, and especially near the ending. Like, yeah, you know they're not gonna die, but you actually get a sense of fear. I love it. So now I'm going to get this over and done with, move on to the second episode. Okay, I just watched episode 2. I really enjoyed it once again. My first thoughts, I love the animation. I just really want to point out, it's actually in this specific scene with Toro. The expression on his face, you can call me crazy here, but you can kind of see his expression change. I adore the animation in this. I'll fully say, at the beginning, with the kids in the raptor pen, I was expecting Owen Grady to come out of nowhere and just stop the raptors, but no. The actual characters in the show sorted it out. And along with that, we have Bumpy. I love Bumpy. Before, I wasn't too fussed about Bumpy, but now, I love him. And now, it's quite obvious that Bumpy has... This is going to sound weird, but it seems like that Bumpy has imprinted on the Shy Kid, because it was the first face that Bumpy saw and spent most of the time around the Shy Kid, and when the kids were leaving, Bumpy didn't want the Shy Kid to leave. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Bumpy has imprinted on the Shy Kid, and to make it simple to those who might not understand me at the moment, basically Bumpy thinks the Shy Kid is his mother. No, so we have Dr. Wu, like, yeah, it's kind of obvious that it isn't B.D. Wong voicing him, but he does a pretty good job. My only complaint is that the model, it looks kind of off, it doesn't really look like him. I don't know if they couldn't afford his likeness or something, and they just made something that looked reasonably like him. But I like how he was implemented in the show. And as for the end with the drone, my current theory is that it's Dr. Henry Wu, because in Dr. Wu's personal lab or room or something, there were two USB sticks on the table, and at the end with the drone, we see somebody put a USB stick into the drone. So either A, this is Dr. Henry Wu, which is who it probably is. But why would Dr. Henry Wu have to fly a secret drone? Unless Dr. Henry Wu could be keeping an eye on the kids, just to see if the pink-haired kid, I forget her name, to keep an eye on her in case she found out something classified. Which she did. She found blueprints of the Indominus Rex. So it's either Dr. Henry Wu or somehow this connects with Biosyn. Because I heard in an interview that this connects with Jurassic World 3. But I'm taking Biosyn down because this is Jurassic World. But I really like this. Call me blind, but I love this so far. It's only the second episode. We're 1/4 of the way through. So far it takes place before Jurassic World, before the Indominus even escapes, for that matter, and I am loving it. I better start the next episode because I can't wait, because I'm actually really excited to continue the series. So I guess I'm watching the third episode now. And actually, fun fact here, originally I was going to record my reaction to record my reaction to Cretaceous, but I decided against it because I went, why don't I actually try to enjoy the show other than trying to entertain the audience? So yeah, this is just me talking and saying my thoughts on the episode. So, moving on, I guess. And now I've just watched the third episode. I did like it. It was just that I will say it was more childish than the previous episodes, but I still liked it. Okay, one thing I have to say is the comedy. Yes, when I was watching the trailers, one of my main fears is that it would be really unfunny. Like, yeah, not all of the jokes land, but I actually found this episode pretty funny. Mainly the part when they're in the gyrosphere, and it's the Shy Kid and the Chad. And basically, the gyrosphere is going around in circles. And the camera is just... it's just motion tracked onto the Chad's head. You can just see all life fade from his eyes. I love it. I don't know how to describe her, but I'm gonna keep on describing her as a fit kid because she's into fitness and all. I really liked her kind of... it's not really a character arc, it's more of a realization. I actually quite liked that change, even though I do think it wasn't... It was handled fine, I guess, but wasn't handled good enough, if you understand what I mean. I really would have liked it if they put more of a emphasis on her realizing that the cowgirl is a good person. The only other thing I really have to say about this episode is the cowgirl and the ending with the Sinoceratops. Now, literally in the last episode, I completely disregarded Biosyn from this show. But looking at it, seems like Biosyn or some rival company might be a part of it. That's mainly because, of course, at the end, because it's just spoilers, we have the cowgirl getting a swab, I think it's called a swab or something, and putting it inside the Sinoceratops' beak, and scrubbing saliva from its mouth, which of course will contain DNA. So she was obviously sent there to gain DNA from the dinosaurs. But of course, she can't be working for actual Jurassic World because they already have the DNA. So, therefore, we have to assume that it's Biosyn, or some kind of a rival company. I really wasn't expecting that. And can you see this? It's a Sinoceratops. There you go. You gotta be kidding me. I don't really have that much to say about this episode, but I enjoyed it. Once again. I will say, out of the three episodes I've watched so far, this is probably the weakest one, but still enjoyable. So, I better move on to the next episode. So I'll actually have something to talk about. I approve! So, I just watched episode 4. Best episode so far. The story's actually starting. You can tell there was some sort of a relationship between Darius and his father. At least I felt like there was an actual relationship there. I love how they neutralized the Indominus. At first, it's camouflaged, and the way it's camouflaged, it looks like its feet are tree stumps. And then it comes out of the wilderness and eats those two men, even though, yes, you don't really see it. At least they actually had the guts to kill them. I really like this episode. Hell, I'd actually say I love this episode. there's actual conflict starting between the characters. That's good. And I just really want to talk about the ending. The ending with the Indominus Rex at Toro's cage. Now, what most people are thinking in that situation is that the Indominus is attacking Toro. But considering the Indominus has Carnotaurus DNA, as you can tell by the horns, which you guys can't see because I'm horrible at this. What I hope is going to happen is the Indominus actually set Toro free and they're teaming up. I would love that. Can I just say, I 100% approve the Indominus. It has the Indo seal of approval. I love this. The story's actually starting just halfway through, but I love this. My only complaint so far is that it's short. That is literally my only complaint about this episode. But it's short and sweet. This is the best episode so far, and I can't wait to see what they have next. Now, I better shut up, because I actually really want to start the next episode. This is a very strange camera angle. Why do you guys watch me? So now we have... Hold on. There you go. Episode 5. If I didn't mention this in the last episode, I believe these next 3 episodes, I'm speculating that these next 3 episodes are going to take place during the events of Jurassic World. And maybe from episode 8, maybe they'll take place after Jurassic World. But I'm just speculating here. I'm only up to episode 5. No, so I apologise if the lighting changed. I started watching this show at like 2, and now it's 6. So yeah, I've been watching this for 4 hours. Well, half that time was spent recording, but hey. Okay, so as for the actual episode, Bumpy is adorable as always. Eddie, poor Eddie. Although, I will say, this episode gave a good excuse to why the head campers are out of the picture, have been out of the pictures in the last episode. It's because we're locked inside of a room! But, once again, I enjoyed this episode. But I'd just really like to point out Eddie's death scene. Yep, he ate him alright. However, I will say that I did like that death scene. Like, it's clear that they found a formula to find a way for the Indominus to kill people without getting a PG-12, without getting a higher rating, a higher age rating. And I reckon it's fine. At least it's better than not killing anybody off. However, I will say I was quite disappointed in the bit where they come across the gyrosphere and the Ankylosaurus is just dead and Bumpy doesn't even interact with it. They could have had a heartbreaking scene there where Bumpy doesn't want to leave the Ankylosaurus. But I guess it does make sense, since Bumpy did imprint on the Shy Guy. And the thing I have to say is the scene with the walkie-talkies. That is an excellent way to show the death scene of the ACU. I actually love that scene. You just have doors open and just radio starts you just hear screaming and roaring and gunshots and then and and when the radio screen, which was once green, turns red, indicating that yeah, that person's dead. I enjoyed this episode. Wasn't as good as the last one, but hey, it could be worse. I predict that I probably won't say much in these little episode bits, but I reckon it's good to record my first thoughts after watching the actual episode. Well, anyways, I think I better continue. I've got 3 episodes left. I've been doing this for hours at this point. This is going to be a pain to edit. And now we have episode 6. Welcome to Jurassic World. Where do I start? I really liked this episode. I'm starting to see a theme here. Anyways, this episode is one of my personal standouts. There's so many things of this episode which I love. First off, the scene with the bioluminescent postal officers was amazing. It felt magical with the music and the visuals with the glowing dinosaurs. Oh, that scene in particular was fantastic. And then we had the Mosasaurus set piece. Like, yeah, I knew the kids weren't going to die, but I loved the sequence anyway. I loved the way it was executed, especially with this amazing looking Mosasaurus model. Even though, sadly, it's out of water, it's green, so that's my only complaint. But I loved that sequence. And another thing I really like to point out about this episode is that actions have consequences. This is mainly with Yaz, is that her name? I'm on about the person who distracted the Mosasaurus and the cowgirl. I love how when the cowgirl said that, ooh, if she said something like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and so on and so forth. Actually, yes, I was right. Even though about her working for a different company. Even though, yeah, it wasn't Biosyn. It's some of a company called Manticore. Maybe that leads into Jurassic World 3. Maybe instead of getting Biosyn, maybe Dodson works for Manticore. Anyways, I loved how when the cowgirl said sorry, the person who distracted the Mosasaurus didn't immediately forgive them. Actions have consequences. I love that. It would probably take a while for the person who distracted the Mosasaurus to forgive her, but that's how people work, to my understanding. Like, yes, most people won't forgive somebody instantly, especially for a betrayal as big as that. It will take time for them to recover and think about it. And where do I believe the show's going to go from here? We have 2 more episodes. At the end of this episode, there's a honking noise. Well, there's a horn, which we didn't hear in Jurassic World. And I don't believe the Mosasaurus has eaten the Indominus yet. So what I believe is that the camp counselors, yes, I remembered their jobs. I'm gonna believe that they're going to think that the kids are dead, so they're actually going to end up leaving them. So, and I don't know, maybe the horn could indicate the last fairy leaving, but that would suggest that the Mosasaurus has already eaten the Indominus. So what I think is going to happen is, in the next episode, we're going to see the Mosasaurus kill the Indominus from a distance, with the kids in the stand just watching So, maybe they spot that people are there, but by the time they get there, Owen, Claire, and Claire's nephews, I know their names, I just can't be bothered to say them at this point, have left. So what I'm going to presume is going to happen. So that in the next episode, we're going to see the Indominus get eaten. The kids are going to be presumed dead, and they're either going to be abandoned on the island in this episode or the next episode. As you know, in the next episode or the final. I don't know what I'm saying. But who knows, as far as I know, they could get off the island. I'm just presuming this because apparently there's going to be a season 2, because apparently at Toy Fair somebody mentioned, a worker there mentioned there being a second season. So, I don't know if that's actually official or not, but I'm mainly going to presume it is. No, so I actually don't mind Brooklyn anymore. Yes, I'm learning their names. I know we have Darius, the dinosaur nerd. We have Kenji, Chad. We also have Brooklyn, the purple-haired YouTuber. At first, I found her really annoying, but actually, I don't mind her now. I don't mind her character. So, I believe that's all I have to say. Let's get on to episode 7. Oh! That was probably the most intense episode yet. I love the sequence on the monorail. The scene where the pteranodons are attacking the monorail is so well done. And also, another thing that's very well done is the characters. In the scene where Ben was walking across the monorail carts, the scene where Ben gets taken out of the cart. Ignore that. The scene where Ben gets grabbed by the pteranodon. I was on the edge of my seat. Well, if I was sitting on a seat, I would be on the edge of my seat. That just shows how well the show is written. I legitimately care for the characters. This show has better written characters than the Jurassic World movies. If that isn't evidence of how good this show is, I don't know what is. This episode was so intense. Like, yes, I know he isn't going to die, but I didn't care. In the moment, I was invested. And so can I also point out that I really like the fact that they aren't all friends all of a sudden. In a different show, these kids would most likely be best friends and never give each other up, but only butt heads at least two times, but always come back together in the end. But these kids, they aren't really friends. As it says in the episode, they don't have any common interests. They know each other's backstories. The only thing they really have in common, and that would really make them bond as friends, is the fact that they're going through this together in the first place. Oh! It's 8! I've been watching this for 6 hours! Oh, I've been watching this for 6 hours! Anyways, this is final episode. The next episode is the final episode. I better hurry up with this. I'm running out of space, but I want to watch the next episode. So, see you then. Oh, wow! Oh. I was correct about the kids being left on the island. Ben's still alive. That's a good thing. Oh, when Ben died, you should have seen my face. Well, when Ben presumably died. Oh, I was heart-stricken. Oh, I love this show. This show is so well made. This show is better than it should be. I love this show. So what, it's mainly aimed towards children. I can love it if I want to love it. And if any of you have a problem with that, bugger off. I can like what I want to like. And I didn't just like this show. I loved it. It was so well made. It was so well animated, so well written, so well directed. The music was fantastic. Oh, I love this show. Well, I was right about the kids being left on the island. So I presume that by this point the Indominus Rex is dead. So every episode past episode 3 takes place during the events of Jurassic World. And I presume everything in the next season won't be, since they're off the island. I mean since they've been left behind on the island. It's just too bad that people will most likely not watch this show because, oh, it's animated, oh, it's aimed towards children, oh, the children won't die. You don't know, if you're saying that, you don't know what you're on about. Give the show a chance. Hell, if you're watching the show, if you're watching to the end of this video, I hope you watched the actual show. I need to make more videos on this. This show deserves to be covered more. This show deserves to be talked about. This show deserves to be on the top of Netflix. This show deserves it. Oh, I love this. It only took us 27 years and $5 billion movies to get an animated series. And we finally got it! We got the dream Jurassic World series right here. I don't care if anybody else disagrees with me. This is my opinion. I love this show. I love it so much. It was definitely better than the Transformers War for Cybertron, even though it was decent. That show pales in comparison to this. You might be saying, oh, you like it because you're a Jurassic World fan. No shit, I'm a Jurassic World fan. And I loved this. This is one of the best experiences I've had watching a show in years. The last time I was this invested in a show was Game of Thrones. Oh, this is undoubtedly one of my favourite shows ever made. I'd say it's up there with Game of Thrones, Primal, and Stranger Things. Oh, I love this show so much. I can't wait for season 2. I need it now. If you sort of watched the show, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Just ignoring Tom Jurassic's awful review, I really do hope that I'll make an actual review about this. Because this isn't a review, this is a first thoughts video. This show deserves to be covered. This show deserves to be covered by every single YouTuber. I don't know when you started watching this. Hell, as far as I know, maybe this could be uploaded on Saturday instead of Friday. Because on the day me recording this, it's Friday, the day the show's been released. I haven't seen any actual reviews about it. So as far as I know, everybody else despises the show. But as you can tell from my reactions here, I love this show. And I hope you saw it as well. This show made me feel like a kid again. This is the best Jurassic has been in a while. Like, yes, I adore Fallen Kingdom. I love Jurassic World. But this might seem unfair, but in my opinion, this is the best thing we've gotten out of Jurassic since The Lost World. I'm praising this show so much, and you know what? It deserves it. You know what? I'm gonna go on Letterboxd right now and give this thing 4 if not 5.5, if not 4.5 stars, because there can always be improvements. Oh, why do I start about the characters? I better make this short. I don't have that much storage left. These aren't normal characters. In most shows, almost like be like, oh yes, we've got this person's best friends with this person, oh yeah, they have some sort of a conflict, blah 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 blah. This show has actual characters. This might seem me being overreacting, it might be, but at the moment, this is what's coming to my mind. At the moment, I love the show. I cannot wait to rewatch this. Who would have thought it, eh? An animated show really directed towards kids has been one of the best things in years. I better leave now. My storage is running really low. So, thank you all so much for watching this ramble of a video. And here is Domzek01 roaring to victory! Ah!